My point is, if you're not choosing the right words, well, for me anyway, if I don't choose the right words, then I am, wow, this is really rambly. Okay, we're gonna start that over.
Welcome to Talks with Jess.
So today I want to talk about the power of words, and I want to set us up by reading you some Bible verses. I think all of them come from Proverbs. So the first one says, "Words satisfy the soul as food satisfies the stomach. The right words on a person's lips bring satisfaction." Proverbs 18:20. "Kind words are like honey, sweet to the soul and healthy for the body." Proverbs 16:24. "A gentle answer turns away wrath, but hard words stir up anger." Proverbs 15:1. "Your own soul is nourished when you are kind, but you destroy yourself when you are cruel." Proverbs 11:17. So one day I was talking to a friend of mine. She was an older, wiser friend who was an older mom. She'd been through a lot of life and she knew some things. And I remember I was chatting, and I think I was talking about my husband or myself in a slightly negative light, not anything too crazy or anything like that, but I remember I wasn't being positive. And she stopped me and she said, "Hey, words have power. Why don't you change how you say that?" And I was kind of taken aback because first she's calling me out and I'm like, oh, it's always a little uncomfortable when somebody calls you out, right? But it's so, oh my gosh, can I just do a little aside? We need to do that more often. We need to call each other out in a loving way. I mean, she was not mean or rude in the way she did it at all. She was always kind to me when she called me out, but there were so many times in my conversations with her where she did that, and she'd pause me and she'd kind of redirect me, or she would sit and she would listen and let me say my piece. And then, there were times where I was talking about my relationship with my husband, and she would then ask me what I was doing. Okay, she'd say, "So what are you doing? What are you doing to change this about your heart? What are you doing to contribute to XYZ?" And I always came away from my conversations with her thinking. So shout out to you, Kelly, if you're watching this. Thank you. Thank you for all the times in which you did that for me. And the rest of you, I hope that you'll join me in trying to be like that more. The kind of person who listens and then shares wisdom and isn't afraid to say things to people, even if it might be a little bit like, whoa, that's taking me aback a little bit. Like it doesn't feel the most comfortable, but I always felt like I grew a little bit when I came away from a conversation with Kelly. So anyway, words have power. And the Bible confirms this over and over again. That last verse really gets me because I've been speaking out of anger a lot lately, and I am ashamed to say that. So that one and the other one, actually, both of them. A gentle answer turns away wrath, but hard words stir up anger. I have been feeling this, and I do this with my husband a lot, where I will answer harshly, and it stirs up anger in me. I can only imagine how it makes him feel. And there are times when I do that, I pull back and I look at myself, I look at what I've done, what I've said, how I've said it, and I consider that. I'm like, oh man, if he spoke to me that way, I would have a conniption fit, first of all. But secondly, I've hurt him, I make him angry by being harsh. But turn that around. Remember that words have power, and if I respond with a gentle answer, it turns away wrath, right? That breaks people down in a good way. It breaks down their defenses. It helps them to realize that you're a person and you see them as a person, and you're on the same level. Likewise, your own soul is nourished when you are kind, but you destroy yourself when you are cruel. This I've noticed a lot with my kids. I am with my kids almost all day, pretty much every day. And when I am unkind to them, I end up crushed in spirit. By the end of the day, I am so done. I am just exhausted. I'm frustrated. It feels like the whole day has just been nothing but a battle. But when I do everything that I can to be kind to my children, and I pray for this a lot in my morning prayers, I talk to God and I'm like, God, please help me to be kind. Because lately my initial response has not been kindness. It has been to get angry. It has been to be frustrated because don't you understand? I've said it to you a million times, you know? And so, but this idea that words have power, if we keep that central to our mindset, to the way that we speak, to the way that we approach things, it changes everything, right? And Kelly said it to me. She's the one who brought it to my attention, but obviously she's not the first person who said it. You have it all over the place in Proverbs. You have it in James. Jesus talks about it. I mean, it is in so many places in the Bible about how much power words have. James has like a whole chapter, his very first chapter in his book talks about the tongue and how the tongue is the rudder for the entire body, right? And I would venture to say that he's not just talking about our physical body, but he's talking about our life. It can guide us. It can guide us wherever we want to go. So then it would follow that if that's really the case, it can probably guide not only our actions, not only how people respond to us, but also how we feel about things. I notice this in my own life. Whenever I am upset about something and I go and talk to my best friend about it, for instance, and I vent about it, if I'm not careful about the way that I'm saying things, if I'm not choosing my words correctly, and I'm just flying off the handle and letting everything spew out, which, little side note, yes, sometimes is necessary to just vent. Do so with somebody who knows you, who knows when you're venting, who is not going to be skewed by, like, okay, when I need to talk about my husband and I don't have a lot of positive things to say because I'm in a terrible place and things are not good between us and I just need to get it all out because I have all these feelings just pent up and I can't even process through them because I'm a talk out loud to process through my emotions kind of a person. I go to my best friend who knows me super, super well. She is one of the best people in the world, and she does not judge my husband because she knows him. She knows when I'm venting. Her perception of him is never skewed by the things that I say because she knows who he is and she knows how I really feel about him, and she knows that to just take my venting as just that. Find someone like that, please. Don't vent to just anybody because there are a lot of people who will, I can't vent to my husband. Not if I don't want him to think negatively about whoever I'm venting about for literally the rest of our lives. And that's not because he's a bad person. It's just we all have our own natures, right? Some people are like that and some people aren't. Try to find somebody you can vent to if you, like, it's absolutely necessary. But, so I've seen this in my own life a lot. There are so many times where I'm going through my day with my kids and I am just reinforcing my own thoughts about them and their misbehavior and how it's a slight against me because of the way I'm talking to them. Oh, you're just being so disobedient. Why can't you just listen? I've told you so many times, you know better, right? I'm reinforcing that expectation that even though they're 3 and 2, they should know better, which really they shouldn't. Like, yes, that's my expectation. That's what I hope for. That's what I want. But let's be real, just because I told them 5 times not to touch that doesn't mean that I can actually expect them not to touch it. Really, if we're being realistic, I can probably expect them to touch it at least 10 more times because of the emphasis that I've put on the fact that they're not supposed to be touching it. And so if I approach it with, oh, you should know better, that reinforces that anger and that frustration in me. But if I approach them and I say, no, come on over here, let's go do something else, because I don't want you touching that, please. I know that it's your inclination. I know that you just want to touch it. So come on, let's go redirect that energy into something productive, into something else. Let's go play over here. then I'm reinforcing within myself that understanding. I'm putting on that cap of I'm an understanding mom who loves my children and gets the fact that they are toddlers, that they have the impulse to touch, and I am helping them to be better rather than screaming at them and yelling at them because they're not better. Does that make sense? Words have so much power. It's insane. And it's not just the words that you say, it is the way that you say them. They can change an entire interaction that you have with your kids, with your husband, with that random person who calls you on the phone to annoy you about information that they need or whatever. It changes everything. If you're on a call, right? I've had times, I've seen people on customer service calls, and it can get quite dreadful. I've seen people chew other people out because, I don't know, whatever reason, their order was wrong. And oh my gosh, don't you know how much this has just affected my life and blah, blah, blah. Well, what's happening there? They're reinforcing this idea that they deserve to have not had this happen to them, which creates this sense of I'm bigger and better than you, or I deserve more than what you've given me, so you owe me. They are alienating the person that they're talking to because these people deal with this all day long, and they are not understanding the other person at all, which means that they're not connecting with them in any way, shape, or form. And chances are, if it does get corrected, it's not going to get corrected quickly, and the person's not going to be very nice about it. So let's go to the opposite end of that spectrum, right? So there was this one time I was pregnant with my second kid, and really pregnant. Life was in a really bad place. We had no money. We've been in bad financial situations off and on for a while, but this was one of the worst. And a lot of bad things had happened in a very short period of time, and this was just one of those things. And the way it worked was, I canceled my car insurance, and they said that I had until this date or whatever, a certain date, that it was active through the weekend. And so I canceled it on Friday, and I called on Monday, and because they said that it would be official on Monday. Anyway, so I called the other company on Monday to get everything finalized and told them, yeah, I canceled my policy, and I need to finish setting up with you. I got my quote, all this stuff, right? So bottom line is, she was like, yeah, sure, no problem. Actually, you have to start a whole new policy because now you're uninsured, and I see that you canceled on Friday, so you're technically coming on as an uninsured driver, and so now you have to pay a ton more money, and your premium is going to be higher and all this stuff. And I was like, wait, what? And I was so frustrated, and I remember I was getting mad because I'm like, this is so stupid. This should have all been worked out, but it's not, right? And my first inclination was to start getting mad at her. But then I took a deep breath. I was like, it's not her fault. She's just doing her job. And so I started talking to her. And as I was talking, I was like, you don't understand, this and this and this. And I started crying. And I'm like, I'm so sorry, but I'm really pregnant. And we're in a really bad financial situation. And you don't even know. You just don't even know. It was bad. But I was being nice to her. And she did everything she could to help me, and we got it figured out. We got it worked out. She made sure that she told me exactly how to do everything. She was so nice. She was so, so nice. But I can imagine that if I would have gone with my very first inclination and chewed her out, I would have alienated her, and she wouldn't have helped me. She would have been like, that's just the way it is. I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do for you. Because she was going that direction, and then I was even nicer, and I was trying to explain myself as well as I could without getting upset or frustrated. And yes, I started crying because I was hormonal and pregnant, and maybe that had something to do with it. But I was nice. Niceness can go such a long way. It even says so in the Bible. Be kind to people, and you will turn away wrath, right? So, next time, tomorrow, when you finish this video, right now, as your kid is annoying you, whatever comes, remember, if you respond with the thought in your mind that whatever you say next will have power, in one direction or the other. My light just went off. So next time that you need to use words, if you keep it in your mind that the words that you use have power, not just the words that you choose, but the way that you use them. They have power for good and power for bad, power for great evil, let's be honest. If you remember that, I promise you, if you use it the right way, especially if you start making it a habit, and I am right there with you on this. This is such a hard thing to remember, such a hard thing to implement. It is so difficult. Because there are some days where it is just so much easier to just say, I don't care. I do not care what they have to say. I don't care how I'm going to upset people. I don't care. I'm just going to say whatever it is I feel like saying. I know it's easy to do that. But if you just remember that your words have so much power, I promise you, you make it into a habit to use words well, to pause for a second and choose the words you're going to say, to figure out how to say them, how to put them together, how to string them together and use the right tone of voice and in the right timing. And sometimes even one of the biggest power of all, to remember and to learn when words don't need to be used at all, when silence is the most powerful thing. It'll change your life. It really will. It really, really will. Try it out. Try it out, then come back and tell me how it's working for you. And if you've already learned this, if you have some sort of secret awesome sauce tip on how to do this well, please tell me about it. If you're struggling like me, also, I'd love to hear that because honestly, solidarity, girl. Solidarity. We need to be in this together because being a mom, being a wife, being a woman, being a human being, trying to follow God and do everything that He wants us to do and be the best that we can be. It's so hard, and we need to be in it together, right? So comment down below. I post every Tuesdays and Saturdays, so if you want to be notified whenever I upload another video, I do stuff like this all the time. Just click subscribe and make sure to hit the bell, and it'll tell you whenever I upload things. If not, just join me again on next Tuesday or Saturday so that you can talk to me and hear what else I have to say. Not that I'm this all-wise, amazing person, but maybe some light can be shed, or maybe some good thoughts can be shared. And I think my son is awake now, so I have to go. Thanks for joining me. Seriously, it's awesome. Oh, also, if you think that somebody else can benefit from this, please share this video, because this is something that I think maybe isn't talked about enough. Yeah. I was gonna go off on a tangent, but I'm like, that's a whole nother video. And this is long enough already. So if you think that somebody else can benefit from any of the thoughts that I have here, even if it's just to be like, hey girl, or dude, if you're a dude, hi, I'm with you. Like, I am not the best at using my words well. I know this, but putting it into practice, yeah, that one's not easy. So if you just, anyway, share this video. I keep hearing my son over the monitor and it keeps distracting me. So sorry for all though. Anyway, thank you so much for joining. I'm so happy that you came over here and share any of your thoughts with me down below. I'd love to hear them and I will respond to as many comments as I can. Also, finally, no, I'm not going to say that. Okay, bye!